And we are live with another episode of Comic Talk. It's that show brought to you by The Key where we talk about this week's new comic book releases. I'm your host, Dimithri Perera, and for those of you who don't know, new comics come out on Wednesdays now. It doesn't matter whether they're DC, Marvel, Image, Boom Studios, any sort of indie comics. They all come out on Wednesdays at your local comic shop. Check out comicshoplocator.com, find a local comic shop near you. But they get released every single week, and we are here. Me and my two awesome guests are here. We do it every Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, talking about everything that we read this week. The ghosts rotate is what I was going to say. The guests rotate. But, you know, they're all ghosts and guests that have been on the show before. You may know him as Virgo Blade. We got Ethan. What's up, Ethan? Welcome back.
Yep. Thank you. Happy to be back.
What's your favorite comic book related catchphrase? You got one?
Titans together.
Titans together. All right.
Yes. Classic.
Titans together is good, but I feel like Teen Titans Go has like to the mainstream public, they're like, oh yeah, that's the catchphrase. But
yeah,
like,
I mean that's what introduced me to it, but then I got into the comic books and together feels, I don't know, just like historical.
I like Titans together. It's a way more succinct way of saying like, to me, my X-Men. It's like you don't do that as a battle cry. Like,
right. It's very Shakespearean.
Yeah.
To me, my X-Men.
It's like, get the fuck over here, X-Men. Like, that's what it should be. Like, get here.
Right.
Get your asses over here.
Yeah. Right. Hurry up.
Yeah. You know? But no, glad to have you back. Titans together, you know?
For sure.
We also got Ambrosia back on the show.
Hi.
Back on the show.
Oh, I like that.
I'm trying to make something work. You know, work with me here.
It works perfectly.
Comics and cupcakes.
Hello.
I went on your TikTok today because I was expecting to not see any current TikToks from you because I haven't seen your TikToks in a million years. And I'm like, oh, Ambrosia's been taking a break. And then I realized you've been doing TikToks. TikTok just doesn't show me my own friends' TikToks.
Yeah, TikTok has been weird, but it's fine. Just I tell
What's
people
the use
like,
of
it
a
doesn't
follow
matter the
button?
views.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't make any
Absolutely.
sense the way TikTok has been lately since they changed the algorithm. They just show they show like the multi-million follower accounts, and they don't show you your friends or your your follows. What's the point?
Yeah.
But
Right.
there is a section of it where it's like you're for you and then you're following.
Yeah.
So that's like
First
your
thing, you
friends
can't
and
set that to your default, as far as I know.
No. Oh, yeah.
And you can't,
course.
like, you open the app, it's going to go to the For You page. It's not going to go to the following.
Correct. Yeah.
And then you also don't get monetized. This is what I heard. You don't get money. You don't get, paid if your views are coming from your following. Which is wild.
Yeah. Wait, what? Say that again?
Like, if I watch your video and I followed you or I found you through the following because I already follow you, you don't get paid for that view.
Oh, that's so sad for people.
You have to make it to the FYP. And that's why like views are relatively low, at least for me. Maybe I'm just crying to myself.
No, same. Yeah. I'm going through the same exact thing.
Views are low because people aren't seeing me on the FYP, and if they are seeing me on the FYP, they're not people who follow me.
Yeah, they're suppressing views 100%.
And I think it's just they probably were like, hey, look, we're just going to make the algorithm show the quote-unquote greatest hits instead of the niche sub-communities that TikTok started off from.
No,
They're
absolutely.
like, no, we all want the dances. That's what we all want, right? Back in the day, it was like, you want something really specific like crochet, you could just see crochet all day long. You know? And now it's like, no, the dances.
Yeah, dances and TikTok
Oh,
shop.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I feel like if anything, I get so frustrated because I feel like it's all ads.
It is.
And TikTok shop. And I can't get like how many, like I get emails all the time about like, you have been able to be part of like the TikTok shop. And I was like, no, I don't want to promote things. Like, I mean, individual like comic books, I guess, but it's all about like clothes and products. And I hate it.
It's-
Like I think for like every 2 videos, like I get like 4 ads.
I mean, and there's not only that, if you watch somebody's video that's like more than a minute, after like 2 seconds before their video is over, it cuts to an ad. And you come back
Really?
from the ad, watch the final 2 seconds of a video for it to loop back. If it's
I haven't ran
long.
into that.
I don't know. This is all inside baseball to anyone out there who's watching and isn't a content creator on TikTok. But you know, if you are on TikTok and you're on Instagram, follow Ethan, follow Ambrosia, follow the Keeg on social media. If you're watching us live, you're watching us on twitch.tv/The Keeg Show or youtube.com/The Keeg Show, or maybe you're listening to the podcast wherever you get your podcast from. But however you are digesting us, like, comment, subscribe, follow to, you know, all of us, whoever you want, but definitely Ethan and Ambrosia, because you guys do great work.
Thank you.
Ditto, my friend. Ditto.
Same to you.
Thank you. I am prepping images right now, but I mean, this show runs on all the comics that we read this week. Before we get to our comics, do you guys feel like you are happy with the amount of comics that you read this week?
I'm very happy. I'm proud of myself because I read a good like 7 or so comics this week.
That's good.
And I planned it out and I got it done.
Oh,
I'm interested about your strategy. We'll come back to that in a sec.
Okay. Yeah.
Ambrosia, what about you?
I am not as happy. I don't know how many I read, but I felt like I wanted to get through all of them, and I ran out of time. So I am not as excited about that. And I was so sad because I like planned out to like which time that I was gonna like read them, and I got pulled away from with like work stuff. And
that happens.
Imagine that.
Yeah,
I know. That's really sad.
I mean, here's the thing.
No.
Like, do like we're an unfair sample size of a mainstream audience because we're not mainstream audience. So we're unfair in that respect. Like, not only the fact like we don't like that we read a lot of comics per week, but also the fact that we read any comics per week.
No, that's true.
You know,
True.
the stats, we're anomalies. You know,
That sounds like a great
gonna...
comic book, actually.
the anomalies. Yeah.
You should make a comic book about us.
I just might.
That's what
I'm
we
a
need,
writer,
more comic books about comic books.
Right?
Because I feel like that's been a trend
it's
lately,
meta.
right?
Yes.
I don't know. That's like, what was the book? Oh, Crossover. That was a book about comic books, and that was like one of my favorite comics.
I mean, for us, yeah. But like, have you guys heard how like the Academy, like the movie Academy, like Academy Awards, they love movies about movies, right? Or movies about LA, or movies about Hollywood, or old-timey Hollywood, or whatever. I feel like it's kind of like that. We are comic book readers, and we've read enough comics that now we can read the comics about comics. And that's interesting.
Yeah. It's definitely meta, and I love that.
Yeah. But it's not mainstream.
No, but I mean, like, if comic book readers are reading comic books, which obviously they are, then they would want to read about other comic book readers. Like, that's the market. Like, oh, let me read this comic, and I can relate to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like we've been talking around in circles, mostly because I'm trying to get these images prepped. What did you guys read this week?
You should have told me we were talking in circles. I'm really good at that.
No. I'm talking. Yeah. Whatever. The point being is, you guys read books. What did you guys read this week? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Okay. I read Phoenix issue number 2. Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 8. Venom War Venomous.
Is it a one shot?
Venom War. Oh, I don't think so.
Okay, so it is issue number 1 on this one. Sometimes they label one shots as issue number 1, and it's like
I hate it so much.
Yeah.
It stresses me out. Venom War Carnage. issue number 1, but I also think that's going to continue. I was hoping to read Star Wars issue number 49. I didn't get to that one. I didn't get to the High Republic. I didn't get to The Walking Dead. But I did read Miles Morales. It's an annual, and Predator versus Black Panther.
Okay, that's a good haul.
Oh, thanks.
Did you read Wolverine versus
Black Panther?
No,
Predator.
Well, I guess those are two questions. Did you read Wolverine Revenge?
No.
Okay. So I guess. Okay, you did. I did too.
Sorry.
I thought Ambrosia would read it, but I guess not.
No, I didn't.
But I guess follow up to that. Did you read Wolverine versus Predator?
I did.
The first miniseries? Okay. Just wondering. We'll talk about it when we get to it.
Okay.
All right, Ethan, what'd you read?
So I read Wolverine Revenge, number 1.
Nice.
Miles Morales, Spider-Man Annual, number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Titans, issue number 14. Nightwing, issue number 117. Wonder Woman, issue 12. And World's Finest, issue number 30. And yeah, those are my picks this week.
And Superman 17, right?
Yes. Where is that? I knew there was something missing. I was tripping.
Yeah, I was like, I thought that was like, well, I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but Superman 17 was your pick of the week, right?
Yes, okay. It was.
Yeah. So I'll put up images for what I do got. I read Phoenix number 2. I read Predator versus Black Panther number 1. I read Ultimate Spider-Man 8. I read Wolverine Revenge number 1. I read Nightwing 117. I read Titans 14. I read Superman 17. Batman Superman World's Finest 30. Deadpool number 5. Red Coat number 5. Dark Knights of Steel All Winter number 2. Get Fury number 4. Jenny Sparks number 1. And Nightclub 2 number 2.
Impressive.
You did work, my good job. That's amazing.
I did it. I feel happy and comfortable. It doesn't always happen every week, but I feel happy and comfortable with the amount of comics and which comics I read. Now, that being said, I've fallen behind on Spider-Woman and Scarlet Witch, and had I not fallen behind, I would have then read the issues that came out this week for those two. But I fell behind, and that makes it extra work, you know?
It does. It always stresses me out. And you don't realize it. I don't know. It always just like sneaks up on you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's also, those aren't necessarily, Scarlet Witch is really great, but like Spider-Woman is good, but it's not my favorite. So I don't jump. Right. I don't jump to it to read it every month. I just kind of like, if I fall off, I fall off, and I'll catch back up.
I got asked a question, and I never really thought about it. I got asked if I put in order like my comics to read them. Like, do I read the ones I'm excited first, or if I put the ones I'm excited to read like last? So you
have I asked you that question before?
No, one of my coworkers walked in on me when I was reading comics when I should not have been.
That's awkward. They're like,
yeah. I was like, that paperwork, I'll have that right to you. Just let me know.
Were you weren't on the toilet, right?
That's for
and then you're more embarrassed about reading comics than you are that they caught you on the toilet.
Yeah, it's fine. My pants were up, okay? I just needed a secret space to go.
Yeah. They're very confused. No. They're like, I don't know what's going on here, but it's awkward. All right.
It is. Just kidding. I was just in my office. But and I never thought about that before. I was like, actually, I don't know. I don't know. So I don't put mine in order. Do you guys?
Like what you're asking? Like, what's the method of how we read?
Yeah.
I do, but you have to keep in mind I'm like a Virgo freak, and I have to have things in like a certain order. So basically, what I do is I start with the solo books. So it'll be like Nightwing and Superman. So I like rank them kind of by, it is a bit preference, but also kind of like prestige. So it's like, Nightwing would come before Superman, but then after Superman would be like World's Finest. So it's like, that's kind of the order that I go in. And then I'll also go from like Nightwing to Titans to go from like the solo to the team book. And also since Nightwing's a part of the team, it creates like a consistency. But once again, Virgo freak. I'm sure nobody else cared that deeply, but that's how I do it.
We care that you care.
Okay,
also,
thank you.
keep in mind that we're okay. Again, the sample size we have here, right? We're not. I mean, we obviously read comics. We read comics weekly or at least every month for this show, like, which is way more than most people. We read a lot, and I don't know. I feel like par for the course is being very particular about what we do, because you have to be particular, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. You can't be I don't want to say you can't be a slob. We can all be slobs, but about comic book reading, like, I feel like you got to be a little bit methodical, a little bit.
Yeah, because it's not a casual interest. It's something that you care pretty deeply about. So because of that, you kind of approach it from that perspective.
Yeah, I think anytime you're passionate about something, there has to be a method
to the madness.
Yeah.
So how do you read yours, Dimitri?
So it used to be back on Tuesdays when DC Comics came out, then I could read DC Comics first, and then Marvel on Wednesdays. But I can't do that anymore. But if I was gonna take it, I love my team books. I love Titans, Justice League, X-Men. I love teams. That being said, there are certain solo books that I just really love too. So it really depends. So like top of my list, from like DC that I would read like first, like let's use this week. I read Ultimate Spider-Man 8, maybe like first or second. Nightwing 117, I read like first or second. Batman Superman World's Finest, probably up there. Get Fury #2 might have been my first one I read this week. Or Get Fury #4, actually. But that title has been really good. And I hate to say it, but it is.
Why do you hate to say it?
Because it's Garth Ennis. And
we had this conversation.
I despise Garth Ennis.
Yes, that makes sense.
And maybe it's not even him as a person. If Garth Ennis ever wants to come on the show and have me interview him, that's fine. But
I would love for that to happen.
Garth Ennis, though, I love his Punisher, and I absolutely like. That's the horrible part. I absolutely love his Punisher. I'm not even a Punisher fan. I'm not a Punisher fan. I'm not a Garth Ennis fan. But sometimes mathematically, -1 times -1 is +1. You know? Like, it's so weird. But Get Fury is about Punisher and Nick Fury in the Vietnam War. And it is gross, but it's gross with a purpose, unlike The Boys, which is gross without a purpose. The Boys comic. Absolute trash, garbage. I don't think anyone should be reading it. That's just my opinion. It's the one comic. But Get Fury #4, I'm surprised that's not my pick of the week. But all right, fuck it. I'm gonna it's gonna be my pick of the week. All right, Get Fury #4.
Oh my goodness!
I'm changing it.
This is huge. We have to tweet out, dear Garth Ennis. I don't know.
I don't want it.
Dimitri hates you, but he just made your book his pick of the week. How does that make you feel?
Get Fury #4 is the return of the Max Marvel line. Whether it's the return just for this miniseries or whether Marvel's getting back into Max titles. But Max was like the rated R, like NC-17 comics that came out in like the late 90s, early 2000s that like Garth Ennis did with the Punisher. Like, but it's an alternate timeline. So he can do whatever he wants with these characters and get their brains blown out, and then like he can do whatever he wants. And so this is him returning for this Max title. It takes place in the Vietnam War. Basically, Nick Fury gets taken hostage by the Viet Cong and taken into North Vietnam, and the CIA, because Nick Fury knows about the drug trade that the CIA is doing in Vietnam, the the CIA is like, all right, we're just going to send in somebody to quote unquote and extract him, but it's really sending someone to kill him. And the person they send is the Punisher. And it's Frank Castle before he becomes the Punisher, right? And they send him into Vietnam at the height of the Vietnam War to get rid of Nick Fury. But there's a twist, and that is, it's not the full twist, but the twist is that Nick Fury knows the Punisher. And what happens, it's really good. And I don't want to talk more about it. I don't. I think you guys should read it.
I think you actually do want to talk about it.
I think you guys should read it, and then we can talk about it another time, because
this is true.
I might give it a try. I'm also not a big fan of Garth Ennis. I read Hero Gasm one issue as a kid. as a kid.
Yeah.
And that really scarred me for life. To where I'm like, why is he writing comic books if this is how he feels about superheroes? So that has literally like plagued my mind. That's why like I don't watch The Boys, because I physically can't. Yeah. Because like you have to understand, like I mean, no surprise, like I loved superheroes, especially like as a kid. And so to read that comic book, which to me was just like a bastardized like F you to superheroes, that's what that felt like to me. It just felt very disrespectful. So I can't like approach The Boys with an open heart, even though people say, oh, like he's not involved, it's so much better. I don't care. Like it is associated with his work, and so I can't divorce those two things. So that's why I kind of have this kind of stone cold hard like separation between me and his work.
I'm with you. I'm with you completely. I absolutely hate The Boys. I've tried reading it over and over and try to see if I can get just a little bit further, and I give it another year and I start back. I can't, and I've stopped now. Mm-hmm. The show is different. That's not going to convince you. I didn't want to watch the show in the first season. I just didn't. I didn't want to watch anything of it. I knew the comics, and then I watched it, and although it's still gross, it's a different type of gross. That's all I can say. Okay. Ambrosia?
That's fair.
Yeah. I haven't read anything from him except for The Preacher, and okay. I liked that.
I heard people like Preacher. I have never read it, so I don't know.
I enjoy Preacher, but
I heard it's good.
Unlike
some other stuff.
Yeah. Apparently, a lot of people have lots of emotions about him, so that's why I haven't picked up anything by him.
Get Fury, on the other hand, is good. So that's all I can say.
What else did he write too that we were talking about recently? Someone read it and it was good. Ooh, I don't know. I'll think of it in the future.
What are you guys' picks of the week?
I started off first, and now it's Ethan's turn.
Okay, cool. So my pick is Superman issue number 17. I love this one. It's a absolute power tie-in, but the real reason is because my girl Zatanna is in it. And I love her. She's one of my favorite characters, the Mistress of Magic. They're on this magical adventure because, you know, Superman doesn't have powers. Zatanna doesn't have powers, but they're still getting stuff done. I love the magic part, like the magic side of the DCU and all like the characters, because it's like this like underground world where they have their own like rules and laws. And I just love seeing them like working together. I would really like to see more of that in like comic books, of just like really dope characters with like A-list characters, like more of these like team ups. And so I just love that like Superman in this space of like this magical environment, which of course he's typically, when he has his powers, you know, that's one of his weaknesses is magic. So it kind of creates this interesting contrast between him and Zatanna, and him going into this world that he's really not familiar with, and having to have Zatanna as a guide, because also she doesn't need her magic to kick ass. It's like, because she came from like the school of Bruce Wayne, and like, yes, like she like learned magic, but she also learned to fight. And so I just love that she's so powerful even without her power. So I just love this from beginning to end.
I like this issue. Ambrosia, did you read this one?
I didn't. No.
Do you not read
But that
Superman?
sounds fabulous. No, Superman I just recently got into. This is where I love comic talk so much, and it has changed my perspective. I used to hate Superman, like absolutely despise Superman. I just thought he was like too perfect. And then I had a lot of people like tell me to read like other books, and I got other people's perspective of Superman, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I am a negative Nancy for not giving Superman a chance, and when I didn't know his backstory. And I didn't know so much of it. And so I think it was a definitely good learning experience. And it taught me to like never say never. Also to give comics a chance that I typically wouldn't read, and also like not talk shit about other superheroes because like it means so much to other people. And like one of my good friends like adores Superman, and I didn't realize like how much like so in turn I hurt his feelings because I said it. So I don't know, hating something so much really like opened my eyes to how naive or how dumb I was. Yeah.
I just
and
come
so
up
now
with more
I've
adjective for Ambrosia. Ignorant, dumb, stupid you were, idiotic,
idiot,
just short-sighted.
And so I have been reading more about Superman. Actually, one of my followers was amazing, and he sent me like a whole stack of like Superman trades that I had been reading through. So I've been like reading like some of the older stuff, but I haven't kept up with any of the newer stuff.
That's fair. I'm trying to formulate some thoughts with this. First thing is, I think that comic books are best when you get to talk about it with friends and share ideas and share different like tastes, right? And so Superman kind of comes out of that because sometimes you'll get in a cycle of like mainstream idea that like the mainstream idea is very similar to like Lex Luthor's idea is like, oh, he's too perfect. Oh,
see, that's why I hated
it's very
him.
Lex. It's very like, oh, how dare he? He's so perfect. Nobody cares. And
that's how I was. I was like,
it becomes this cycle.
This douche canoe is perfect. And like, what? Yeah, I literally was that
Nothing's
person.
a challenge for him. Nothing's interesting. But, you know, that's the first thing. I think that like sharing like your tastes with each other is better. And then you can share the love as opposed to the hate. Again, only one comic that I share the hate for. That's it. Just one comic. But everything else is a matter of taste.
But I definitely feel like there's reason behind that.
Which part?
Your hate.
Oh yeah. But my second follow up is that something Ethan was saying about the magic users in DC, and it just got me thinking because I've been comparing universes, DC and Marvel, both of which are huge universes that have multiple characters and like in different parts of the galaxies and like everything, right? And it's all like really fleshed out, which is completely unlike anything else in media, in anything else in fiction. Like nothing is as fleshed out as the DC universe and the Marvel universe. Like people can talk about J.R.R. Tolkien, but that's one world. That's it. There's one world. Cool. He came up with the language. It's amazing. Whatever. Very contained. But DC and Marvel, better or for worse, you can map out the whole galaxy, you know? And that's something really special. The magic users in DC, this is a hot take, magic users in DC, way cooler than the magic users in Marvel. I think DC does magic users so much better. And that ties into my third thing. And I think it's because DC is a conglomeration of other comic book companies and early ideas. So like, there was pulp heroes and action heroes, and like then there was like Captain Marvel, which was like, you know, in a different comic company, and it got merged in. And I think that DC does different genres better than Marvel does, because Marvel started ish in the 60s and like had that same flavor going forward, but like DC had a lot of different things come together to make the DC that we know now. So I feel like
that's a fair assessment. Like, you know? DC is very diverse. Like that's why like Justice League Dark is one of my favorite comics. I've read like every issue of Justice League Dark because I love the magical side of the DCU so much. Because you've got, you know, Blue Devil and Ragman and Detective Chimp, you know, and like all these three, it's like one's a demon, one is a man who has souls in his garment, and the other is a talking chimp. And it's like all these people like come together, and I just love that they feel like this community that that like works underneath the actual like main DCU. So when like characters come there, it's like it's almost like they're entering a whole different universe, and that's what I felt like Superman like went through when he went into the Oblivion Bar, which is one of my favorite places, to where he's trying to like understand that like why they're not like fighting back, because it's like they have a different set of rules that are not like the main superheroes. And yeah, I do feel like DC's magical side is just very fleshed out.
Yeah. I also love the end, and this is a spoiler, so for anyone who's looking to read this without spoilers, go forward like 30 seconds. But the end, when they essentially are trying to lead up to you thinking it's Constantine, because it's just like, it's a guy, it's a white guy, he's smoking, or at least you see smoke come out, you don't see a cigarette, and then it turns out it's Neron, the Lord of the Underworld. And it was like, oh, cool. It's like being a DC fan pays off sometimes.
Yes, and with this comic, it definitely did. As I said, from like beginning to end, to the end reveal of Neron, and which I didn't see coming, which I also like love. It just hit all the marks, like the magical adventure, the map of Mordru, then even also how it tied into absolute power. Because like this is a mini rant, but it's just like I don't like these big events that don't have an actual impact on the comic books. It's like Batman's not gonna spend an issue talking about how he was a werewolf. You know, it's like, so to me, those are like, that's like wasted time that we're spending on like these events that actually don't really matter. Whereas like absolute power, because it literally affects him like not having powers anymore, like affects the actual story that's in Superman. Not like, oh, I did this thing. Like, no, like he's like still reeling from having to fight his son. It's like, and that's what I want to feel from these comics that I felt like I had back in the days of like 52, the weekly series, and Infinite Crisis, and the crossovers. It wasn't just, oh, here's this random event that's going to like take up 2 issues of your comic, and then it's not going to be referenced again.
That was my favorite time to be a DC fan.
So good.
Infinite Crisis, 1 year later.
Yes.
52. I don't know whether Ambrosia, were you reading comics back at like DC's Infinite Crisis time? Because it was wild.
I was, but I read mostly Marvel.
DC did a thing where they had their big event, Infinite Crisis, and then all the ongoing comics flashed. They jumped ahead 1 year in continuity.
Oh.
So they had a missing year of continuity, and it was like, oh, like the Teen Titans. I think in that, like Cyborg's been like decommissioned for like a year, and he gets like glimpses of things that have happened, and then they like start him back up. I think that's what happens. And
yes,
like there are things that they bring into that like jump forward that you're like, how did we ever get here? And then they're like, we'll explain it in 52, which was the weekly comic series that was 52 issues long. It was the best time to be a DC fan. Like, I love it.
Yeah, I love that so much.
Yeah. Shout out to Merlin the Hermit there on our Twitch chat. If anyone's out there watching and or listening to the podcast or whatever, let us know you're out there. Write a review, like, comment, subscribe, follow, do what you need to do. It's nice to see Merlin out there. Ambrosia, your pick of the week.
Hi. I did Ultimate Spider-Man.
Is it still?
Number 8.
Is it still your pick of the week?
Yes. Yeah. I was really excited. I was like, I did it. I did good for one. I matched it up. Because typically, yeah, I change it. But no, I have been enjoying Ultimate Spider-Man. I forgot how much I enjoy Jonathan Hickman. And he has been just doing so well with this. I was behind on Ultimate Spider-Man, and I've been slowly getting caught up. And so today I was finally all caught up, and I loved it. I love Wilson Fisk. I love the Maker. I love I really enjoy the characters in here. And so because you read this one too, right?
Yeah. Ethan, are you reading this?
I did not.
Okay. Ultimate Spider-Man to me is my favorite the new Ultimate book. Out of the four books, Ultimate Spider-Man to me is like a 10 out of 10. It's great. I really liked this issue, especially my biggest concern when this new Ultimate Universe came out, it's not the old Ultimate Universe. People are giving it that designation. It's not true. It's not that designation. That universe still exists, as we see at the end of Spider-Man 2 issue 6 or whatever. The last scene is them showing the Ultimate Universe that has reset and not included Ultimatum and all that stuff. Like there's a Ultimate Riri and like Giant Man's back to being alive. Like there's a lot of things. Anyway, the point being is like there are changes in this universe that are not like the 616. Like Felicia Hardy. Hardy is half black. And she is looking good. I don't know if you've seen there's a cover that's out there. I think they released some art. And like she's looking great. Like Tony Stark is younger. Like there's like different things. But the Sinister Six are all the rulers of their own boroughs in New York.
Oh, that's fire.
So it's like the 5 boroughs plus the underworld is what Kingpin says. So I think they mean, I don't know whether they mean the criminal underworld, but they also have Mole Man, which makes me think it's Mole Man is the underworld. Like
that's what I thought too.
Like
and I also
Subterranea, you know?
No. I don't know what I was gonna say, but yeah.
Yeah. Each of them watch over, like, I think they said like Kraven runs Staten Island, I think.
Yes.
And like there's some like really cool things, especially in this issue, because they kind of like brought the Sinister Six together. Because they're all mob bosses, but they're also supervillains.
What was the Ultimate? There was one Ultimate that you did not like. Was it
X-Men? X-Men's not hitting the way I wanted to hit. But it may not be for me, which sucks, because I was very much looking forward to Ultimate X-Men. Like, why wouldn't
Who's writing that one?
Is it Peach Momoko? Because I know Peach Momoko's doing the art.
No.
Is somebody else writing it? Okay.
Yeah, I think. Because it was very Peach Momoko-esque, but it wasn't Peach.
The art
Momoko.
is Peach Momoko. But I don't know whether the writing is, too.
I don't think so. Let's see. But maybe it is. I don't know.
But yeah, so Ultimate Spider-Man is like a 10 out of 10 for me. Ultimate Black Panther is like a 8 out of 10. Ultimate X-Men. Oh, it is. It's Peach Momoko doing everything. Writing.
Yeah, I was wrong.
But I do have to say, although I didn't like the new Ultimates book, the recent issue, I think it was last week, I think. We didn't do a comic talk last week. It was really good.
That's great.
It was gross and good. Basically, it revolves around like nuclear testing on the Pacific Islands. And because of it's not just nuclear testing, it's gamma radiation testing. That the Ultimate She-Hulk is an islander from that island. But the rest of the island people are disfigured because of the gamma radiation. Like, one is just like a brain and a nervous system, like just floating there. And like, so you get Hulk style horrors, but that's actually real world history. Is that we, like, America tested nuclear radiation on Pacific Islands, and they moved them around, and then they moved them back to the island, an irradiated island, and that's just American history.
Huh.
I thought it was interesting that they put it into the Ultimates.
Yeah, that's hardcore.
Yeah. But yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man is good. I liked it.
It's so good. I love it so much.
Yeah. Let's hit the other things that you guys really want to talk about. Real quick, my other pick of the week was gonna be Deadpool number 5. I really like it. Cody Ziegler writes it. It hinges on it's funny, but it's not like too frat boy douche humor. It's not about that. It's kind of a continuation off of the previous run. And so, yeah, I don't know. Deadpool's daughter, and Deadpool's quote unquote daughter, which is his dog, which isn't a dog. It's a symbiote dog that eats people, but they're sisters. Like, it's just a cool,
Oh.
and it talks. I think her name's Princess. Anyway, Deadpool number 5 is really good too. So,
sounds cool.
What'd you guys read?
I also did World's Finest, issue 30, which I really liked because Wonder Woman was involved. It actually showed the Trinity, and I feel like she just gets paid dust too often, and I need her to like be in the sauce with Batman and Superman more because she's part of the equation as well. It's a really cool story of like them going to the mascara and having to solve this mystery, and I like how it was written. I love the art. The only thing that I didn't like, which was small, but this did prevent it from like becoming my top pick of the week, is that I don't like Superman with Wonder Woman at all. Like, it's a no-go for me. There's not a writer in history that's going to make me like that pairing.
Romantic.
It's just correct.
Yeah.
It's so basic to me. Like, just I don't find it interesting. Like, I find like Wonder Woman and Batman more interesting. I find Batman and Superman more interesting. Like, I don't want Wonder Woman with Superman. And even though that wasn't a big thing, but they had this end thing that like they like whisper to each other. I'm just like, I could have done without that. It doesn't do anything for, honestly, like I feel like it kind of cheapens Wonder Woman as if like she can only be involved. Like, she had the Superman Wonder Woman comic book, but like they couldn't just do a team up. They had to be together. But it sounds like I'm harping on it. It was really just like one panel, but like the rest of the comic was dope. It had like a Prometheus reference, and I'm really into like Greek mythology.
Oh, Greek mythology Prometheus. You're right, because I was thinking the other Prometheus, and I was like, when did he come in? And I was like, oh no, never mind. You know what I'm talking about? The villain, right?
Yeah. Who is a dope villain that I really wish that they would bring back in a serious way. I feel like he was in, what was it, like Shadow War. And to be honest, like the concept of that story was really good, and I wish that it could be revisited. But anyway, yeah. So the actual Greek Titan Prometheus was involved in this story, and I liked how like it involved Batman having to like solve this case, and like Wonder Woman like trusting them and like vouching for these men being on the island, and it was all just done like really, really well. Almost made it to my pick of the week, and that was really just one thing that I didn't like. I could have done without it, but everything else was like legit perfect. So I would really like it if Wonder Woman gets involved more. It's because I feel like even in like Justice League, like she's not utilized as well as she could be. And like with this being like Batman and Superman, like I get it that they're like a duo, but like it's also like a trinity. And I want Wonder Woman to be on that level.
Yeah. I liked this issue to an extent. I don't know whether only certain writers hit the Trinity like to be interesting for me. For me, I like Batman and Superman being world's finest. Like the three of them are the Trinity. I think I like the world's finest better than the Trinity. Like maybe that at that point I want to see like the Justice League, just a good old fashioned Justice League lineup written by Mark Waid. You know?
Yeah, but like here's the thing: it's like Wonder Woman doesn't often get written well in Justice League, and to me, if you're gonna be a Trinity, then like it needs to feel like DC's Trinity, not Batman, Superman, and then Wonder Woman. Which I feel like, you know, unfortunately, like most writers cannot handle Wonder Woman unless you're like Greg Rucka. Gail Simone did a great job. I liked Alan Heinberg's run, but the majority of people don't write Wonder Woman well. So I understand you coming from the standpoint of like, yes, Superman and Batman are world's finest, like that's true, but like what about Wonder Woman? Like can we get like Wonder Woman and Black Canary, Wonder Woman and Zatanna? Like I just feel like it sometimes feels like she's Trinity in name, but they don't treat her in the same way. It's like, even like I just feel like she just paid dust too often. So that's where it's coming from. Like I love world's finest, but I would probably love a Trinity book just as much if it's written well.
I think there is a Trinity book coming out. I think they're prepping. I think we're getting some like cool stuff post Absolute Power. Trinity is one of them. We're getting a Justice League Unlimited. They're calling it that. It's not the cartoon,
Mhm.
but it's like the Justice League coming back, you know.
Yeah, I'm so happy they're coming back. I
Yeah.
miss Justice League so much.
Yeah. There needs to always be a Justice League.
Always.
Yeah.
Titans didn't fill in the gap like they said it would. Like that was just Titans.
I felt like they were just dealing with their own problems the whole time.
Yes, correct. That's exactly what happened. I'm like, give me my Justice League back, please. So I'm very glad that Justice League in full is coming back. And I even like that absolute power like scene where one woman was like, we have not been together for so long that we've forgotten how to talk to each other. And I'm like, yeah, so come back.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy that Justice League Unlimited is coming.
Yeah. The Titans, I think they missed a lot of great opportunities. Like, what does it mean for the Titans to be the world's hero team? And they didn't capitalize on it. They just were like, they're in Bloodhaven. They do a couple of things that the Titans would anyways do. Like, their tasks, their missions didn't increase or expand. They didn't have to be intergalactic ambassadors, where I think, like, Justice League kind of plays into that. The Titans were just like, no, we'll stick around here and, like, save people from floods. And then, you know, Raven is evil. I don't know if you guys read Titans number 14.
Yeah, I did.
But, like, yeah, I mean, the basic thing is, like, now it's just Raven being a problem. And it's like, that's not Justice League stuff. I would have loved for the Injustice gang or some sort of, like, reintroduce the Injustice gang and, like, Justice League villains to fight the Titans. At the very least, that's what they should have done.
Yeah, I agree, because this, like, just it felt like Titans, and even like as you were talking about with Titan 14, and like Raven is, you know, evil again, like, oh, daughter of Trigon. Like, we've been down this road. It's not really like doing anything that different with it. And that was probably my least favorite book of this week, just because I'm just like, this isn't giving me anything new. This is a Titan story that I've read before. The art is nice. That's it.
Yeah, the art is nice. Nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Ambrosia, you are getting into Venom War, and I want you to tell me about the 2 books that came out this week.
So you're gonna hate it.
I don't hate Venom.
No,
I read Venom War number 1, and it's not for me. But
no,
you tell me.
And I'll be honest. I was hoping for so much more. Than what we're getting. And so we had Venom War Venomous come out, which, I mean, if you are a Natasha Romanoff fan, then definitely check this out, because we have Black Widow in here, and it's Black Widow meets Venom, basically.
She has a symbiote, right?
Yes, yeah. And Carnage, it's Carnage, and I was really hoping, like, I love Torunn Grønbekk. I think she's a really great writer, but I was really hoping for something different, and it's literally like, oh no, everyone is symbiotes. Oh no. Like, they're just keep breeding, and like, I will always love a Cletus Cassidy story, just because it's literally just like blood and everything. But then I feel like there's only I was really hoping that they would go a different route than like what they're doing. I'm going to continue reading them because I love Venom and I love Carnage, but I wasn't impressed with what we have so far. But we have a long list coming of Venom stuff. I think at least and then we have all like the tie-ins that are going to come in that are going to drive me crazy, because we have Venom War Wolverine, Deadpool, Lethal Protectors, Symbiotes, Fantastic Four, and it's just going to be overkill of like something that doesn't, like, we're coming out of the Blood Hunt series, which, like, we have vampires, and now we are moving into symbiotes. And so I really wish that there was some like breakage or some divide from everyone turning into something. So I hate to say it, but I was not impressed, and I was disappointed. So we'll see how Venom works.
Yeah. I'm going to throw out a hot take. You want to hear another hot take?
I love your hot takes.
I think that when you're thinking about like DC and Marvel, I think there are certain heroes and certain teams that should always have an ongoing because they have a lot of story potential. Like you can throw Nightwing into new things. I don't think Nightwing gets old unless the writer chooses for him to just like not have anything to do. Like I think that you can continue to tell stories with Nightwing. I think that there are certain almost premise-based heroes and characters that like work best in like collected miniseries and not an ongoing. You know, like think of them as movies, not TV shows, right? I think Venom. Hot take is Venom shouldn't have an ongoing. I think Venom and Carnage should be miniseries of like it should just be like Venom, brains or bust, and like that's the miniseries, and it's like they do with Wolverine and Wolverine Revenge and whatnot. Like, Venom should just have a collection of miniseries, and I think that like Venom would be better because of it. I'm not saying it because I want to just get rid of Venom. I think he has a purpose, but not a purpose every month.
No, and the thing is like after the whole King in Black series, things kind of went south.
Yeah.
Like it started to go south, and then they brought in like Dylan Brock, Eddie's son, and it just it's not what I was expecting. And I think that they could do so much more with that character than what they're doing. And I just feel like they're just I don't know what they're doing, and I hate it. And there's so much potential, but I'm not there for it just
I don't know what it is. I have yet to find a writer that can really do a Venom ongoing that's, you know, that's worth me reading. But that's me personally in my taste.
No, I get it. And they're what they've been doing recently just has not been great. So I was very hopeful and I was so excited. And I hate when like you know when you're pumped for like something and then it's just that's how I felt about
that's
this
the
one.
worst.
Yeah, so my heart was a little broken, but it's fine. The beautiful thing about comic books is that characters die and then they'll be brought back to life.
Yeah, or a run will end and you can get a breather, and then you can come back bigger and better.
Yeah, we just need to push the fast forward button, and it'll be fine.
Yeah. Ethan, did you read Predator versus Black Panther?
I did not.
Okay. Well, Ambrosia, did you?
Yes, and I was pleasantly surprised. So this did get me excited because I walked in as kind of a pessimist. Like I was like, okay, we already had Predator versus Wolverine. Do we need to have a Predator versus Black Panther? Originally, my answer was no, but after reading it, my answer is yes. It's so good. I liked it. Did you like it?
I liked it. I don't think it's as simple as Predator versus Wolverine. Like, I think Predator versus Wolverine is a much more straightforward concept.
Yeah.
Predator versus Black Panther is more space science fiction epic than Wolverine. Wolverine's just a slash 'em up sort of Wolverine versus Predator, right? But Predator versus Black Panther is like it's cool, but it's also like there's a lot going on.
No, there is a lot going on. I mean, we get there's a lot of Predator lore. I feel like, and then we see the differences of the families and the fractions, and how the similarities between like Predators and Wakanda, and I don't know. I really enjoyed it, and especially like I don't know. You see like the sibling rivalries, and I don't know. You just feel the buildup of a good old battle coming up.
Yeah. Ethan, are you a Predator fan?
No. And like that's kind of why like I didn't gravitate towards it. Like the only Predator movie I saw was Prey, and I did really enjoy it. But also I know that that's kind of like a different take on it. Because I'm a bit more of like I like sci-fi, but I like cerebral. No tea, no shade against Predator. I haven't seen it, so I can't fully judge it. Yeah. But just based off of like aesthetics of what it looks like, it doesn't seem like my type of thing. Like I kind of just recently got into Alien.
Yeah.
Oh
Like
yes.
the Alien franchise, and specifically like Prometheus. Like I love like the philosophical aspects of it. Like you're not really gonna pull me in with just like a slasher or just like, oh, this is a beast who like destroys things. Like what's its purpose? What's its motivation? And if it doesn't have that, then I tend to like veer away from it. So, and I'm sure with this being like about Black Panther, it's gonna have hopefully some deeper message, but the actual kind of like, Predator itself doesn't pull me in.
No, that makes sense.
I haven't seen all the Predator movies or anything. I have seen Prey. Prey was amazing. And when it comes to aliens, like I don't do aliens because I'm scared, so I don't do the movie. But I do read the comics. And it's sad, but I'll admit when there are movies I know I'm not gonna see, I just Wikipedia it, like because I'm like they're either horror movies or like whatever, and I'll just read the Wikipedia synopsis. And so like I did that for Alien Romulus because again, yes, I admit it, I'm scared. Like I just get scared. I'm not gonna watch it,
No,
Yeah, but like Predator vs. Black Panther, the premise of this is that they gave us a backstory that like, did we need it? Did we not? I think it's interesting. Basically, there's two warring. Well, the premise of Predator in and of itself is just there's an alien species that their goal is hunting. Like they will hunt the most dangerous game essentially, and they'll just go to different planets and hunt people in a quote unquote honorable way. When we say honorable, like they have like technology and they'll just blow your head off, sure, but they do it. I don't think they do it to like innocent people. I think I could be wrong, Ambrosia. Do they kill?
I don't think they do.
Like
I don't
children?
think they kill innocent. Mm-mm.
But if a child fights you, if they challenge a predator,
Then
they'll just blow them up. Yeah, but
Yeah.
like
Okay.
if you challenge a predator, means your game. But then also like, if they see that you're big and bad, and they see you from afar, and you're like you kill a bear. Oh wait, no, Prey. That means kind of what they do, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know why I'm Dimithri splaining.
I like it,
Anyway.
and it helps everyone else. So.
Thanks. The premise of this is that there are two warring factions between two Predator brothers. They have two different clans, and in order to defeat one brother, one of the Predators who has a robotic leg, he's sort of the underdog between the two brothers. He's like, I need to find vibranium, because we have a vibranium spear, I think, or a mask or something. We have a little piece of it. I'm going to test the galaxy for it. So, there's some on Earth. I'm going to go take their vibranium. But Wakanda, this is out of continuity. So, like, Wakanda has all the vibranium. So they're like, now it's almost a Predator war against Wakanda. So it's almost like Predator versus Wakanda than it is Predator versus Black Panther.
Okay. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have Shuri,
Shuri, yeah.
who's like, share the vibranium, and Black Panther's
With
like,
the world.
no.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out where they are, because I think they meant, like, they referenced COVID, but they also seem very MCU oriented, because they were like, they mentioned that there's vibranium off the coast of Central America, which makes me think it's Namor.
Oh.
Yeah, but that's not the case in the 616. Like, in the 616, like, everybody has a little piece of vibranium, but, like, Namor, not Namor, but Namor in the 616 isn't off the coast of Central America. So, I don't know what they're doing in this. But it's not the MCU. So, I think it's just, I don't know what it is, what's going on. But I liked it. It was cool.
I did. I was, like I said, it was more than what I was expecting.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for it to continue.
Yeah. Ethan, you read Wolverine Revenge, though.
I did, and I really, really enjoyed that. I have to really give props to Jonathan Hickman and Frank Capullo as well. He's a great artist, storyteller. But Hickman makes writing seem so easy. And not going to, like, shade anybody, but, like, sometimes you just need that, like, the writer who just knows the character in and out, and you can just, like read a story and know that they know exactly what they're talking about. They get people's voices, they understand the serious moments, having a bit of levity, and that's what Hickman brings to everything that he writes. It just makes it seem so easy. And so yeah, I love this book probably more than I thought that I was going to. Like, I like Wolverine, but I'm not like a huge Wolverine fan. But this had everything that you would want in a Wolverine story, on top of things that I wanted as like a Marvel fan, but like a very specific Marvel fan, which is I like, Captain America and like Winter Soldier. So like seeing them involved, I'm like, oh, I didn't know that they were showing up. So that added to the fun as well. So yeah, this was surprisingly one of my favorite books this week.
Yeah. A little known fact is that this doesn't take place in the 616. It's its own timeline because there's some big things that happen. But
Yes.
I didn't know the premise of this before I read it. I just knew that like I had saw just an article being like Wolverine Revenge kills a major Marvel character or something like that, and I was like, what is this book? Because the cover of the book doesn't tell you what the premise is.
No.
Wait, what was that Marvel thing that Tom Taylor wrote? Where
that I don't know.
It's not Dark Knights of Steel because that was, but like, what was it called? It was like it had Spider-Man. It was like an alternate timeline. Dark Ages, right? This seems like it, but it's not.
Okay.
You don't remember Dark Ages?
I know about it, but I never read it.
So basically it was like, yeah, like the world loses electricity, right? Like you can't power anything. And so then it flashes forward and like you see that. But like in this, it kind of starts off kind of like that, right? There's an EMP pulse that hits half of the world, and it's mostly the western half. So it's Europe and America and like some of Asia. And like then Nick Fury hires Wolverine to go try to solve a problem, and like shit goes wrong and people die. Sort of shit. I don't know. I thought it was interesting, but also I'm confused on why this story is being told.
Yeah, I just kind of am trusting it at this point. Like, I don't know specifically why or like what it's trying to say, but I trust that it's going to, because it's weirdly gripping despite not having all the information. Like just like the world that they've set up, like after Magneto and like he's in the Savage Lands, and then like working with like Nick Fury, and they need Wolverine because he is like strangely specifically like built for like a situation like this. He seems more like animalistic. And so it's like the premise alone has me trusting in where the story's going to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And some major Marvel characters do die. So,
They do. And so that part, I was like, I mean, it's Wolverine's story, so I can't be too pissed off. But I would have liked to have seen more of them. But I understand.
Yeah, I don't want to get too much into it, but yeah, I liked it. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I also thought that Ambrosia would read it because Ambrosia would like it.
I'm sad that I didn't now.
Yeah.
Especially because I like Hickman. So I need to jump on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good read.
I'm surprised I didn't either.
For the sake of time, we're reaching our super fast segment for today, just to finish off everything. I need a cool name for like the last 10 minutes of the show is always like lightning round, kind of,
There you go, lightning round.
Super blitz,
Speed Force lightning round.
Yeah. we gotta do a Speed Force lightning round on the rest of the books that we read, which means the most succinct thoughts, and we'll get through everything. Phoenix #2. Who read it?
I did.
Okay. You don't like it?
It was okay. I liked issue #1 better. Issue 2, I don't know why I said issue tattoo. Sorry. Issue 2 was fine for me. I didn't think it was like super spectacular. But I also like that they brought in her father-in-law and that whole relationship and family drama. That's always fun. But
yeah. My quick thoughts on this is I liked issue 2 better than issue 1, actually.
Oh, okay.
I like Corsair, Scott's father. And I do think it's creepy that he's walking around in a towel in front of Jean.
He is.
So Corsair, calm down, man. Come on. Like, even
But
if
it's
you
very
didn't,
fitting.
yeah, but even if you didn't mean it, like, like go have sex with multiple people elsewhere, just not your daughter. Like, don't be creeping on her. But you also get the Black Order in this, and I thought that was cool. And you get this like development of this like small side character, Adani, right?
Yeah. I also like the backstories of how I felt like they were very parallel to Jean's for Corsairs.
Mm.
And so I liked that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Phoenix number 2. Let's see. Ethan, did you read Nightwing 117?
I did, and I really liked this issue, especially the stuff with Boston Brand. I throughout all the stuff, I love that Deadman is getting more love. He's a great character, and I love how they're bringing that in with Dick Grayson's story because they're both acrobats, and I feel like they would relate in that way. Also, Batman as Nightwing, which is something that I didn't know that I needed to see, but I do. That costume was screaming because Bruce is stacked, but it was also like a sense of respect of him, like, oh no, like Bloodhaven needs a Nightwing. So while you're like, indisposed because of your like fear of like height and like dealing with people believing that you're a villain when you're not, I'm gonna step up and like be the protector of Bloodhaven because it's just like Gotham needs Batman, Bloodhaven needs Nightwing, and so that was a very cool, like, respectful, like, I see you, I respect you. So yeah, great issue.
I really like Boston Brand a lot, and I like the fact that he was in the circus when Dick was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I like this issue also. I don't like Bruce as Nightwing. Somebody pointed it out online. I think they were like, "How tight would that costume be? Like his back would all just be out because it wouldn't close in the back. Like unless he got a specially made Nightwing suit for just this occasion, which is kind of a weird like thought. Like, okay, when were you ever expecting that? But okay, Bruce is built different than Dick.
Literally.
Yeah. So, okay, whatever. Anyway, that's Nightwing 117. Ethan, tell me about Wonder Woman 12 because you're a big Wonder Woman fan.
Yes, I am. I like Tony Daniels' art. That was really good. Yeah, that was my favorite part about it. I feel like really when it comes to Wonder Woman, there's just a certain way that I like to see her depict. Like this was a Wonder Woman and Damian Wayne story, and I feel like there was potential. It just felt like it was kind of stuck in the mud of them doing like one thing. So basically, like Captain Boomerang is there. They're trying to get some information from him, and I almost feel like that part of it should have been like 2 pages, but it was like multiple pages of like going on and them like Damian Wayne being his like Damian Wayne self and like trying to like torture him. And Wonder Woman's like, oh no, you're not supposed to like do that. But then also like, I'm going to kick his ass if he acts out of line. And like, that's cute for like a hot minute. And then like, I kind of want to like move on to something else. And so, yeah, it kind of got stale, but Tony Daniel on art was really good. So that was my favorite part of the Wonder Woman story.
All right. I only read the first couple of issues of this run, and then I just kind of stopped, and I need to hop back on to form a complete opinion about Tom King's run. Yeah. Okay. Was that all the books that you read this week?
No, I also did Miles Morales Spider-Man Annual #1.
Okay.
And I think we all read that one.
I didn't get to read it. I wanted to, but I didn't get to read it. I love Miles, but you guys talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, that was probably my.
Okay.
Sorry, you can go.
Yeah,
okay.
you guys both talk about it at the same exact time. That's
no,
what I meant.
because I think were you gonna say this was your least favorite?
No.
Oh.
I was gonna say this was my second favorite.
Oh, fabulous! Mine too. I really enjoyed.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. What? There was 2 or 3 stories in here.
Yeah, like 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got Bloodline and Storm in here as well, which I'll be honest, I was not like I saw, at the bottom it says guest starring Storm, but I was not expecting her to like be like I don't know, in I don't know what I was expecting, honestly, but it was better than what I expected. So that was a lot of fun. I also just like love family. And that's
Same.
a lot of what this was. So it made my heart um super excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. Like that first part with Miles having to like reconnect with like his culture because he goes to Puerto Rico, then he sees his abuela, and they have this really, really like heart to heart moment. And even though he's not in costume, like you still get that sense that he's a hero because he does something that's very heroic in a very just like nonchalant. I mean, it's still like super powered, but he's not in costume, so it's not something like huge, but it's also still very impressive. So I like that like mixture back and forth of him like connecting to his roots while also being a superhero even when he's out of costume. And then the Storm meetup, well, I mean, she's Storm, so she's iconic, and that was like a really dope like meetup between them. He's like looking at her like a goddess because she is, and how much like she means to him was very much felt. So yeah, this was a very dope issue.
Nope, I agree. I loved it so much. So this was a great one. So
Oh,
read it,
yeah.
Dimitri.
I'll have to read it. Yeah. Is it also Cody Ziegler?
Yes.
Because Cody Ziegler's writing Miles Morales Spider-Man and he's writing Deadpool.
Oh yeah, and you liked the Deadpool.
Yeah. Little known, I mean, well, not, I don't know, little known thing, but like Cody Ziegler's been like bit writing for a long time, and then he got his ongoings. He's also in that final episode of She-Hulk. He's in the writer's room because he was a writer on She-Hulk. And
Cool.
so like you can spot him out, and so like it's like, oh yeah, that's Cody Ziegler. I know him because he used to just be a guest on a not comic book related podcast. It was just a different podcast that I used to listen, or I actually still listen to, the Daily Zeitgeist. And like he used to be a guest on it, and like I thought that was, oh no, was he a guest on that or on Culture Kings? I don't remember. But the point being is like I didn't know he wrote comics until I found out he wrote comics. And I was like, oh, that's crazy.
That's cool.
Yeah. You didn't read Star Wars 49, right?
No. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
That's all right. So I mean, that's pretty much everything that you guys read, I think, right?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I got 2 minutes that I'm just gonna Red Coat number 5. It's fun. I'm not gonna say it's like the best of the best of the best, but it's a really fun historical fiction book about a red coat British soldier who is kind of an asshole that gets immortality, and he gets immortality, and so does Benedict Arnold, and you see him throughout history, like just being just kind of a douche, and then you get a young child Albert Einstein. He's like 10 years old.
Oh my gosh, that's adorable.
And he's like a main character in it. He's like the kid sidekick. Albert Einstein's the kid sidekick in this book.
Nice.
So, it's fun. There's a twist at the end of this, which isn't really a twist. It was like a twist off of another twist, and it was like, oh, that was what we thought. But okay, that's fine. Dark Knights of Steel All Winter number 2. I think people were expecting a sequel, but I think it's more of a spin-off because it revolves around, so it's the Dark Knights of Steel, almost like it's an Elseworlds book where it's like medieval fantasy, Lord of the Rings kind of thing, but with DC heroes. The first series was really good. All Winter is focusing on Deathstroke, Slade Wilson. And then it has a backup with Jonathan and Martha Kent versus Atlanteans. And they're all like different. It's Game of Thrones. It's like Game of Thrones, Dungeons and Dragons meets DC Comics. And so like it's pretty good. Then I read Nightclub 2 number 2, which is a Mark Miller book. Mark Miller's moved from Image Comics. He's moved Skybound from Image Comics to Dark Horse Comics. So now his books are like the biggest thing at Dark Horse because Dark Horse has been losing titles.
Have they?
Like, I mean, they used to have Star Wars, then they lost
They
Star Wars to Marvel,
they-
right? They
still have Star Wars.
the High
They have
Republic Adventures. They have the High
Yeah.
Republic, and that's it. But like,
Yeah.
they also lost. I think Dark Horse had some other other IP that they lost. IP is getting shuffled around right now in comic books. Like, where are the Ninja Turtles? Where like G.I. Joe? Like G.I. Joe and Transformers moved from I forget what, from maybe it was IDW to Image now. So like, okay, all right, fair. Anyway, Nightclub 2 number 2, or Nightclub 2 number 1. Sorry, it's not. It's the first. It's the return of these kid vampires that they just want to like have fun and not hurt anyone and be vigilantes, but then also make YouTube videos. So,
don't we all?
Yeah.
I
So
know.
I don't know. It's cool. If you like the first one, you'll like this one, and it's kind of interesting, you know. And then last but not least, Jenny Sparks number 1. I think it's Black. Is it Black Label?
Oh, I don't know. I like most Black Labels.
Anyway, Tom King wrote it, and Jenny Sparks is a character from the old Authority book, and Jenny Sparks is born every century and lives 100 years and dies, but in the original book, she does that in the 2000 and she goes from Jenny Sparks to Jenny Quantum because it's a new century. She's like the personification of the century. But
It is a Black Label.
It is a Black Label, yeah. But in this, it says she's 124 years old, which is also, in this alternate universe, they are saying it's 2024. So I thought that's interesting, because comics rarely do that. Anyway, it's kind of one of those, like, badass, kind of smarmy type comic books, where it's just like, well, fuckface, you thought wrong. Like, okay, smoke a cigarette. Like, that's kind of the vibe. So she's kind of like a nicer Constantine in a way. But she is British, but I don't know whether she speaks in a British accent or not. Anyway, point being is, it was kind of cool, but I don't fully understand the book. So if somebody could read this book and then tell me what happens, because it's very confusing.
Oh, have you read any Jenny Sparks previously?
In the Authority, yeah. But I think this is her first time getting an ongoing. And it's a new kind of continuity. So, I don't know. Captain Atom is the villain. And it does give a little bit of a Watchmen vibe. So it makes me think that this is going to use the characters from Watchmen, but the DC characters that the Watchmen character is based off of. I could be wrong. I don't know. It's Tom King. So
that's a good hypothesis.
Tom King already wrote the Rorschach comic, which was a sequel.
Those ones are good.
You know?
I did read that.
Yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much it. I guess that's our Speed Force Lightning round. Brought to you by Toyota. We need a sponsor. For this podcast. Probably not Toyota. I don't know what they would win out of this, but if anyone else out there wants to sponsor us or get it,
be a toy Yoda.
A Toyota. Yeah.
Toy Yoda. Toyota. Yeah. Okay. I'm done with puns.
Okay. Anyway, thank you both so much for coming on this episode and talking comics. It's always a great time. Both of you do amazing work, and then you're just cool people, and you read a lot of books, and I love having both of you on. This is the first time, I don't know that I'd said it on the air, but this is the first time you two have been on a Comic Talk episode together. Thoughts about each other as we close this up?
He's a keeper.
First, thank you. So are you. Also, your name is very cool. I meant to say that earlier, but Ambrosia is just very comic booky. So props to that.
Thanks. I'll have to tell my parents. They did good.
Thank you both so much for coming on. Before we get going, though, where can we find you? What do you got coming up? Anything you want to plug?
You can find me on TikTok at Comics and Cupcakes. Nothing coming up, just trying to be more consistent, and just reading comics, and yeah, that's about it.
Awesome.
You can find me, Virgo Blade, on TikTok, Twitter, Insta. Also, I know people have been asking me like if I'm going to go to any cons, and I can confirm, hopefully, that I'll be going to the Bedrock City Comic Con. It'll be in Houston. I know I'm like agoraphobic. I don't like going out, and I might be cosplaying. No promises, but I do have something in store. Maybe we'll see how it goes if everything aligns. But yeah, so hopefully I'll be going to the Bedrock City
Where's
convention.
Bedrock City?
It's like a local comic book in comic book store in Houston. So that's where the convention will also be. And Jim Lee is going to be here, so that's pretty dope.
Ooh.
Don't the Flintstones live in Bedrock?
I believe they do.
Okay. Okay, I'm just wondering. Anyway, you guys are cool. Thank you so much. For anyone out there who wants to follow me personally, follow me at This Is Dimithri on social media. Instagram's probably the easiest thing. I'm getting too many comic books and I need to get a new shelf. Like I have to get a whole brand new shelf because I've been going to cons and buying trades like crazy, and I need to get a new shelf. And after that
is a great problem to have.
Yeah, except at a certain point you're gonna get another shelf. You know what I mean? Like it never stops. What do people do? Do they just stop buying books?
Maybe IKEA should be the sponsor.
I mean,
see?
Yeah,
makes sense.
Okay, all right. we'll have to look into it. But for anyone out there who is watching us live, watch us on twitch.tv/The Keeg Show or youtube.com/The Keeg Show, or maybe you're listening to the podcast wherever you get your podcast from, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Audible, Amazon Music, so on and so forth. We're on all of that. Find us at The Keeg Show or The Keeg, either way. If you're on social media, TikTok and Instagram are two biggest ones, at The Keeg Show. We're also on Twitter, Threads, Facebook, at The Keeg Show, /The Keeg Show, pretty much everywhere, including patreon.com/The Keeg Show if you want to give back to The Keeg. Now, The Keeg is the overall branch podcast channel, the umbrella. Comic Talk is one of our shows. Comic Talk is every Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. But we also do other shows like The Keeg Talks, where we talk about movies, TV shows, whatever, different topic every episode. We also do The Keeg Chats, which I just started up. Episode 1, I talked to comedian Lindsay Mullen. Episode 2, I talked to comic book writer / illustrator Marcus Williams. Episode 3, we just did comic book writer Josh Blaylock. So a lot of interviews coming out, a lot of stuff. So anyway, you can find us all in there. Find your local comic shop, comicshoplocator.com. Find a comic shop near you. Also support your local public libraries. Those are our big ones. A lot of cool things in life and comics coming up. I'm very optimistic on what the future holds. So, let's keep it up and let's share the love. That's pretty much it. Yeah, thank you guys so much for coming on, Ethan, Ambrosia. Shout out to Merlin the Hermit in our Twitch chat. Once again, I am your host, Dimithri Perera, and this has been another episode of Comic Talk for the week of Thursday, August 22nd, 2024. Say bye, everybody.
Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.